Every year, the tech industry gathers in massive convention halls to pitch consumers a unified vision of the future. The pitch is almost always built around a single piece of hardware. The perennial promise is the ultimate convergence device, one gadget that merges your phone, your tablet, and your laptop into a single chassis you can slide right into your pocket. This presents a persistent dilemma. Is an all-in-one hybrid actually more efficient for your daily workflow, or are you better off carrying dedicated, specialized tools? This chart maps capability against portability. A desktop PC sits down here in the heavy, highly capable corner, while a smartphone is light but limited up here. The dream device theoretically occupies this empty space in the top right. In 2006, a device called the dual-core CPC tried to claim that top right corner, but as soon as you account for the weight of its processors and the required external dongles, it crashes straight down the portability axis. Evaluating this historic hardware failure clarifies the trade-offs we still face with today's hyped foldables and two-in-ones. The CPC was the brainchild of Brian Cups, a veteran inventor operating out of Las Vegas. Cups had a serious track record. He designed the underlying technology for Food.com, an early internet ordering system that the Smithsonian Institution archived as an essential 20th century invention. His primary ambition for the CPC was to cram two completely separate computing brains into a single chassis. The resulting hardware was thick and dense, measuring roughly the size of a handheld gaming console. A brilliant resume cannot overcome the physical laws of computing. To see where these laws were ignored, we have to look inside the chassis. This diagram shows the CPC's core hardware, two distinct processors operating entirely independently within the same shell. Modern unified architectures, by contrast, handle multitasking through a single core sharing a central L2 cache layer. The dual cores simply relied on brute force. The goal was to provide the instant-on accessibility of a PDA while keeping full, non-diluted enterprise desktop applications just a button tap away. This required a severe battery trade-off. In PDA mode, the device could last 12 hours, but the moment you booted up Windows XP, that lifespan dropped to just 4 hours. Packing two active, unshared computing cores into a pocket-sized space creates a massive thermal problem. The chips generate intense heat that has nowhere to go. Running discrete systems in parallel on a single battery creates constant workflow anxiety. Alongside the dual processors, the engineers packed in a full gigabyte of RAM and a spinning 40-gigabyte hard drive. They wanted to create a localized computational powerhouse, a standalone server that fit in your pocket. But those massive internal components left zero physical space and zero power overhead for wireless radios. This chart maps the hardware inputs directly to their required trade-offs. Because the chassis was filled with legacy desktop hardware, the CPC shipped without built-in Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. Users had to carry external compact flashcards or USB dongles just to connect to the internet. The primary interface was a 5-inch touchscreen with absolutely no integrated hardware keyboard. Securing this hardware required a $1,500 premium. Entering text for heavy enterprise applications is practically impossible on a 5-inch screen. Actually doing the work required finding a flat surface and plugging in an external keyboard. Buying a premium mobile device without a functional native input method yields a worse return on investment than simply buying a dedicated laptop and a smartphone. This dynamic is the Frankenstein fallacy. It is the false belief that physically bolting two distinct functions together automatically creates a perfect hybrid. Forcing incompatible systems to work together in a confined space is actively destructive. The components in a poorly planned hybrid cannibalize each other. You end up sacrificing basic necessities like Wi-Fi to accommodate legacy power like a bulky hard drive. The first version of the dual-core CPC never actually shipped to the public because it succumbed to these exact cannibalistic trade-offs. True technological convergence requires a unified architectural design. Compressing legacy parts into a smaller space creates more problems than it solves. Before purchasing any modern two-in-one, foldable, or ultra-mobile PC, you have to perform a strict workflow evaluation. We call this the convergence test. This flowchart asks a simple question: what is your primary need? If you are an enterprise field worker who absolutely requires legacy desktop power while standing up, you fit a very narrow profile. You can absorb the convergence tax. For you, investing in a hybrid makes sense. But if you are a professional optimizing for seamless communication, rapid typing, and reliable all-day battery life, you should avoid first-generation do-everything devices. Your branch leads straight to dedicated hardware. For the vast majority of users, carrying highly optimized dedicated tools easily outperforms wrestling with a single compromised hybrid. Hardware investments should prioritize your daily usability realities. The allure of an all-in-one gadget rarely survives the practical trade-offs of the real world.